Hi everyone, it's BigFriendlyWarGamer here again. It's 24th of July today, and we're going to ramble it for an hour or so again. We got some weird stuff on my desk today. I'm having a bit of a nostalgia trip at the moment. Basically, I started this hobby nearly 30 years ago, and this is the game I started with. It's called Hero Quest, and you'll have to excuse the models aren't the best, but they hold a lot of memory for me. So I started some of these at the weekend, and you have, let's see if we get some light on it. That's an orc. He's finished. Got 3 of them, and we've got some goblins as well. He's finished 2. We've got 3 of them as well. Basically, I'm working these in batches of 3, because then it will only leave me a few left at the end to work on. We've got 3 skeletons, which I am about to put the last layer on the bone. I was working on these just before I started doing the video because my battery was dead on my camera, so I had to charge it. We have 3 things called femurs, which are like, they're green skins, but they've got these weird club-like tails. They need a couple of layers of green on them. We have some zombies, which are just undercoat. We've got 3 zombies, and they've got this weird hatchet that they're carrying, but that's fine. We have 3 mummies, who aren't particularly the greatest models, but it's okay. And we have 2 Chaos Warriors. We only have 2 because I added something to this set quite a few years ago now, and that is a Slambo. Of course, back then he didn't have the name Slambo. He was just Chaos Warrior with 2 axes. But because he kind of fits in with them, I mean, if you compare them, it's hard to see because they're dark. They're both just sprayed black. So they've got the same kind of heads, same kind of build on their armour. So I added him to the set, and he never got painted. But we also have on my desk, my 2 Reaver Titans, which I was working on. As you can see, he's just painted red. And that's number 2. Can't see too well, but let's do that. There we go. We got my Demon Prince sitting here. He's been sitting out for a while. I actually think he needs to be put away because I don't really have any intention of working on him. You'll have to excuse me. It's a bit warm again today, as it has been for a while now. So yeah, we're just going to get stuck in and painting. Let's talk about what I've been up to this week and stuff like that. We'll start with the whole. Let's check that a bit better. So I went and signed for my agency last week. I've got to take the my criminal disclosure form up to them, and I can start working for them. But I'm putting it off a little bit because I don't want to go back to working. I'm enjoying my time off. And I know I've got to go back to working because I need to be earning money again and whatever, but just for now, I'm dragging it out a couple of days. So I'm going to give myself this week, take the disclosure form up to them on Friday or something, and see how it goes from there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put some white on the bones of the skeletons, because they're almost finished, the skeletons, they're not far off. So yeah, signed up for my agency, which I found that other people have as well from my old company. So a number of people have left now, but that's their business, it's none of mine. And yeah, I mean, I was painting in Games Workshop on Friday, and got 8 of my 12 Blood Bowl players finished for my Chaos team, so that was pretty good. Let's get this on. Actually, let's tilt that up a bit. That's a little bit better. So yeah, so the Chaos team's coming on quite well. I've got 4 more to do. I've started. They're not far off being finished. So yeah, it's coming on quite well. And I've played some games. I've played 3 games with my Chaos team so far. The Chaos team that I restarted because of teaching other people how to play Blood Bowl. And I've drawn 2 and I've won 1, so I'm not doing too bad. Chaos teams are quite notorious for being fairly bad to start with, so I've got through the stage where none of my players had skills. So I've got a few skills dotted around now, like I've got a Beastman with sure hands, I've got a Beastman and a Chaos Warrior with block, so it's coming on okay now. But I may be restarting them again anyway, because trying to get other people into the game, and it's not really fair if I'm doing beginner games with an experienced team. So we'll see. And we might do a little open season and maybe a league after, but we'll see how that goes. There's been a bit of talk about it anyway. There's enough interest around, so we will see. But I also I played 40k at the club yesterday with my Harlequins, and I won. This is the first win with the actual Harlequins that I've had, so I'm quite chuffed about that. And it was their first game fully painted, so double bubble. It's all good. So yeah, it's weird. I mean, we moved the club nearly a month ago now. I think last week was our 3rd or 4th week at the new place, and it didn't feel like, I want to say like home, but that's a weird way of saying it. It didn't feel like our club place until yesterday, and we had a really good session at the club yesterday. We played like random weird games and stuff like that, and it was really quite cool. I mean, we played a game which I'm actually considering buying. It's called Cult Express. It's a fairly quick game. You can buy upgrades and that for it as well, but I think it's something that you can play as a family as well. It's pretty cool. I'm considering actually buying that for myself once I've got a bit. I'm earning a bit of money, of course. I'm not just going to go splashing out and stuff when I can't afford it. But, so yeah, so that was good. Played Nuclear War, which I didn't actually get to play. I didn't really understand it, and then before I actually even got a turn anyway, I was wiped out, so didn't really get to play that, but that's fine. We played another game, which I can't remember what it was called. It's basically, you have werewolves, you have clerics, and basically you got the werewolves eat the villagers, and I was the werewolf twice, which is quite funny. So yeah. So yeah, it's been quite good. Had a few drinks down there yesterday. I tried this drink called Golden Axe, which is a bit of a strange name, but it's the name of an old game that was on the Sega, I believe. But I've got a copy of it on my PS3 or PS2. I can't remember. Because they released a updated version of it on that console, or whichever one it was. I think it's on my PS3. I think it's over there with my other games. And that was quite nice. So yeah, all round quite a good day. And it's weird because like once you get I've been out of work for what, 7 weeks now, and once you realise that you're actually thinking of going back to work, and you're on the brink of going back and all that, you start enjoying yourself a bit more. It's silly, I know, but I'd be quite happy if I could go for another month without work. And I know I can't. Well, I could, but I shouldn't. So, yeah. Oh, we'll see. So yeah, so painting this like I said, had a bit of a nostalgia trip over the past weekend or so. This game, Hero Quest, it came out 1989, so that makes it, next year it'll be 30 years old. It was the first thing that wargaming wise, that I ever owned. It was bought for me one Christmas, I believe, and me and 2 other friends used to play it quite a lot. Unfortunately, I then, being the kid that I was, destroyed my set, because I was a bit of a brat, and I wasn't always focused on doing this hobby. Sometimes it was just something to muck about with when you're playing with your brother, sort of thing. And all my stuff got destroyed, so my Hero Quest set was pretty badly bashed up. And when I started working again, I bought myself a new copy, because I found one on eBay. It didn't cost a lot. It was practically brand new. I bought the expansion packs as well. Well, the two of the 4 that I could find. There was 5 expansion packs, but one of them was just a quest creator, a like blank canvas, so you could do your own quests and stuff. And the other 2 expansions are really expensive, because they were really limited copies anyway. So I was quite content to just get what I had when I was actually collecting anyway. So I got the 2 expansions, and Keller's Keep and Against the Witch Lord, I think it was. So yeah, so that was pretty cool. I got them, and the set has sat in my cupboard for probably about 10-15 years now. Probably 15 years. So I thought, why not? They're relatively, like I say, they're quite simple models. They're not mega detailed. The skeleton's hands are massive. They're bigger than his head. Well, they're as big as his head, which is pretty big as well. And I'm hoping at some point that I can get a group of people together to actually play this. It would be at the club, obviously, but we'll see. I mean, at the moment, like I said, Blood Bowl is kind of making a comeback at the club, so that's got to live itself out, and it will, because games come and go, people get bored of them, and they want to play something else. This is why I've always been reluctant to do a Blood Bowl league. I mean, we've done 2 before. I know I've run one, and I'm pretty sure there was another one. But it peters out, because people, that they lose interest, they want to play other things. And like, for example, when I was playing last week, I managed to kill Orc Blitzer for my opponent. Which, an Orc Blitzer, when you're just two games into your team, replacing a Blitzer is quite hard. I mean, in 3 games, I've had 2 Beastmen killed, like properly killed, like dead result on the table, which is quite rare to have so many deaths in so few games, but it happens. Blood Bowl is a bit crazy. Weird things happen, and yeah, it is what it is. It happened, I recovered from it, and I'm back up to my 12 players again now. So yeah, it's fun playing Blood Bowl again. I have missed it. It has been quite a while. I used to play Blood Bowl with my old friends. We had a small group, which there was 4 of us in playing League. We played League and then Cups, and like you were basically playing the same 3 people all the time. But we had a lot of games played. We filled up our team roster, the played roster on the back, but this was a long time ago, and the rules were slightly different. I mean, you could have star players, you actually bought them rather than hired them for a match. So yeah, Blood Bowl's different now, but it's still good. It's been quite a lot of fun. Relearning the rules, because I was a bit rusty as well. So yeah, updating myself on that, and I've still been caught out on some things. For example, how you set the gate at the beginning of the match, how you allocate winnings, that kind of thing. But I think I've got it down now, and we will be moving forward with it. But next Monday is the last week of our first month of the slow grow. If anyone's been following my blogs, you'll know, like, the actual written blogs that I'm doing. I'm doing Harlequins, and next month we got up to 1,000 points. So I'm still not sure what to put in my army. I want to take some jet bikes, but that's going to be a lot of painting work. I know at some point I'll be taking jet bikes, because I own quite a few of them. Yeah, it's just I've got a week or 2 to decide, because then I'm going to start painting it. The jet bikes might not be too difficult to actually paint. It's just a case of I'm going to magnetise every single one, because I want the rider to detach so that I can store them properly. Yeah. Right, so we're gonna hit the scythes, sorry, of the skeletons with some dried bark. Give it a bit of a wood look. And I'm sure I'll get back to these femurs at some point. The Hero Quest set is good in the fact that the models are relatively simple, and you can paint them fairly quickly. I mean, the 6 greenskins, the orcs and goblins, I painted them up in an afternoon. It's fairly simple. And their bases, I'm in and ahhing about how to do the bases, and I come up with a way, and I think it looks pretty cool. Fits into the board a bit as well. Hero Quest isn't like your typical war game. Like, you don't have a 6x4 table and play it and stuff like that. Hero Quest is more a what I mean is, sorry, you don't have, it's not a war game. It doesn't have the massive board. It's more a board game. You do have a board, you have some other markers and counters, so it takes up less space, and at the moment I think that's one of the big things at the club, is the space. So having a number of people sitting around a table and playing a game is good, because not everyone can really get a war game in because of the lack of tables. Whereas at the BattleUX club we could have 20 tables set up if need be. We can't do that at a conservative club, which is fine. Like I said, for the first time yesterday, it actually felt like our home again. for the last 3 weeks it's felt a bit, I don't know how to describe it. It didn't feel like we were 100% comfortable there. Well, for me anyway. I mean, other people may see it differently, but it actually did on Monday. It felt pretty cool. So that doesn't help that I'm there for the first hour by myself and no one turned up till later, but that's fine. I used to do that at the BattleUX Club and it was not a problem. So yeah, it's been cool. And on the upside as well, being there, it's still hot there, but all the windows are open and it's not as hot and stuffy as the BattleUX Club used to get. I mean, with the BattleUX Club you could have a nice breeze flowing through the place to open all the windows and everything, but I only got the same at a conservative club, so yeah. But on the subjects of the BattleUX Club, they're still having their problems. Everything's still up in the air. They don't know what's going on, and they're still there because Rafa bottled it and didn't turn up. So who knows what's going on? They've set up what's it called? Like a donate site. I can't remember what it's called. To try and get some legal advice, so they can actually push Rafa to actually turn up when they say they're going to turn up. Otherwise, don't turn up at all, sort of thing. It's all being done so badly. But what can we as outsiders do? There's nothing really. They run its course. I mean, the problem is they've got it now to a state where they were saying about it wasn't fundamentally going to make money, right? And now because of what they've done, the scaremongering and the pressure that they put on the place, I can guarantee you now the place is making no money at all, because all the clubs that used to be there have now moved. They used to have events there as well, like music events. They've all moved because they were told they had to, so they did. So the BattleUX Club is practically making no money now, which is a shame. Which will probably mean it will go under by itself rather than having Rafa come and shut it down. But still, it's a sad state of affairs. But what can you do? So yeah, so these scythes are a bit weird. They're a little bit curvy. I mean the actual wood, not the actual blade, but the blade's curved as well, so it's okay. And this isn't an effect of the old model or whatever. I think it's just the way that they were made. And like I said, these models aren't great. They're big mould lines on them and stuff like that. Like literally mould lines that you cannot remove because they're in such a bad place. So you just leave them. And these aren't. I'm doing a fairly good paint job on them. I'm not pushing myself to do my absolute best, but they're looking okay. They're looking fairly okay. So one thing I wanted to talk about a little bit was clean my palette. There was a bit of talk at the club. We've had some new people come down to the club of late, which is great. Having new faces there is fantastic. Excuse me because my cloth is really paint gunksy. I need a clean cloth, which I'll probably get a new one in a minute. Well, after the video. Yeah, so we had some new people down. People who have not long got into the hobby. And there was a bit of talk going on about whether you enjoy painting and stuff like that. And one of the guys was saying about, this is a guy who's a bit older than me, has a huge model collection just like I do. He absolutely hates painting, he said, which I found quite weird, because he's been in the hobby as long as I have. His armies are relatively painted, and I just said about how I love my painting. I mean, if I could do it as a job, I would. I don't think my painting is quite up to the state where I could do it as a job, but I totally would. But no, he can't stand it. So, like, this brings up something that's been on my mind a little bit about people commission painting and stuff like that. And I've taken on a few commissions. I mean, I completed one, which was Sigmund, which I think I painted some of that on one of my videos quite a while ago now. I took on the Space Wolf one ages ago, which I'm still in process of the last model. And I've taken on another one recently. It's more as a favour for a friend rather than an actual commission. It's for a tank. It's... I mean, I asked about as well whether people would like to have a model stripping service connected to the club, which is something that I could do in my spare time. And it got kind of joked out of the class sort of thing, like, about me stripping and whatever, but it was kind of I'm trying to make a reasonable point, is the new guy who was there yesterday, he was saying he's literally just started building. He hasn't even thought about painting yet, but he's bought some paints, and he's watched some videos online and stuff like that. And I was just saying to him about, like, get some old metal stuff. When I say old metal stuff, I mean go on eBay and buy a Space Marine. No, not a Space Marine squad, because they've been plastic for quite a while. Just some old metal Space Marines. You can get the veteran squads were metal. You get something like that. And paint them up and strip them, paint them up and strip them, and just practice your painting skills on models that you can just fully strip and like repaint. And looking back on it now, it was a really good idea. I mean, it's something that I probably should have done, but I didn't have the ability to strip models back then when I started, all 30 years ago. I've actually just gone through my HeroQuest stuff. Some of it was partly painted, some by me, some not by me, but either way it was quite badly done. There was some which were unrecoverable because they were painted with old Humbrol enamel paints, and my methylated spirits won't strip that. So I've this morning I had a stripping session. I was stripping old HeroQuest stuff, and I painted quite a while ago. I painted all the heroes and the characters. You got the gargoyle and the Chaos Sorcerer. I stripped all of them because they were so badly done. Painted these years and years ago. I'm like 15, 16 years ago. And my painting has only really progressed to where it is in the past 10, maybe a bit more. So when I was painting the Lord of the Rings, the original Lord of the Rings stuff, my painting was getting fairly good. So it actually probably is more about 20 years ago I bought this HeroQuest set to think about it, but it's, yeah. But yeah, it's fine. It's okay. So I am gonna want some agrax to highlight the wood on the sights. And like I said, these skeletons are literally going to be paint the bone colour, paint the wood on the scythes, paint the metal on the sides, and they're done. Well, apart from the base. The base is quite a quick base as well, so it's all relatively quick. And the femurs, there's not much more on the femurs than that as well. You've got, it's mostly skin, and then you've got some metal. I did comment to some of the guys at the club about how the femurs all seem to be in gimp suits. If you don't know what a gimp suit is, then you've had your head in the sand, really. But anyway, yeah, I was only joking, really. But so there's not a lot to paint on the femurs either. I will add the 6 models that I painted over the weekend brought me to 150 for the year. So I'm only 50 away from my target, and I've got 3 here which I'll probably get finished before the end of the day. I might even finish the femurs before the end of the day as well. And so yeah, my painting tally's coming on very, very well. Like I said, I want to get to the 200 mark before I sit down and start looking at the big stuff. Because I know the big stuff will take me a long time, and if I got stuck into one of them now, I wouldn't finish my painting tally. I wouldn't get to my 200. So saving that stuff for once I smash my target. And I've got 3 models in mind to be big models to paint. And then at some point I've got to get back to my Malifaux crew, because that was part of my painting target as well. I've actually got to find them first. They're in a box somewhere, so I'm sure I'll find eventually. So we're going to keep that wash brush out because I need that. We're going to grab some Nuln Oil and we're going to shade the scythe. Now, I want, with the orcs and the goblins, their weapons aren't particularly well kept. They're a bit rusty and stuff. So all I do with them is I do 2 different shades. The first one is Nuln Oil, so it's just literally coat the blade in Nuln Oil. And the upside of it being so warm is the fact that the ink dries fairly quickly as well. There's one. Like, the ink on the wood has dried already. It's already done. But yeah, what I do for the rust effect is I paint Nuln Oil, and I shade Nuln Oil, put all over the blade, and then I add I shade it with Agrax Earthshade to give it a bit of a rusted look. I mean, I could go further and give it a proper rusted look, but like I said, these are simple models. I'm going for quick paint schemes on them, so I'm not doing the full rust effect, which I know I could do because I've done it before. But anyway, so now we're going to go back to the wood and we're going to have a bit of Gorthor Brown, which Gorthor was a Beastman character back in the world that was in old fantasy. Now, with some of the wood on the goblins, the wood on the axe guy, the axe goblin, and the ball and chain orc, their wood has got some texture to it, and I don't think these handles for the the skeletons have on their sides. So we're going to make a bit of our own texture. And when I say texture, I'm going to paint wood grain. So I'm not going to do this particularly like carefully. All we've got to do is our small brush, and we're just going to, there is a little bit of texture on it, but not a hell of a lot. So we're just going to do, so we're just highlighting the wood. I'm just highlighting the wood, but we're not covering all of the wood. We're just painting squiggly lines kind of thing to give it a kind of wood look. And like I said, there's a little bit of texture on here, but these models are really basic. They're not mega detailed, so yeah, so like I was saying, with the whole some wargamers like painting thing, some don't, and I get that. I mean, I can understand how some people can not like painting. I'm not that blinkered that I'm like, oh, it's the greatest thing in the world. Like, it's quite a common thing that some wargamers don't like painting, but I do, and so in some ways it comes down to, I think I've said this before, I could do commission painting because I could get armies painted to a decent standard, but it's not really a thing that I want to invest too much time in. I don't want to be painting other people's models all the time, so that's why I'm just doing small commissions, like a tank here, a character there, and I'm not really asking for payment for them. I'm like, they can buy me a cider or whatever like that. So yeah, people think it's funny that I just say that, but for me, helping people out is more important than the money. I know it sounds silly with me talking about going back to work and whatever, but it is kind of I'm just being honest. Like, even at the agency, the woman said that I hadn't asked how much I'll be getting paid, and the fact that they said to me originally that it would be a pay rise compared to what I was on at my old job was enough for me, because as much as we were paid kind of rubbish at my old job, I was comfortable. So getting paid more for doing the job that I know back to front is fine. So yeah. And I've actually been thinking about these videos. I've been doing this for a while now, and I may move these to a Sunday, and I may actually make them live videos instead. Not while the weather's this warm. Like, while it's warm, I can stop and start it, and I can go away, grab a drink, which is exactly what I'm going to do in a minute. But I want to try and make this more community. People can sit around and paint while we chat, because that's basically what we do in Games Workshop. And it's the good thing about sitting and painting in Games Workshop is the fact that you do get to talk, whereas when you're sitting at home painting, you're basically talking to yourself, like I am talking into the camera. So yeah, with that, I will be right back because I need to grab a drink. Right, so I've been gone about 10 minutes, and the ink on the blades of the skeletons is dry now, so give it its second shade. We're going for Agrax. This is just to basically give it a bit of a rusted look. Gives it quite a dirty, rusted look as well. Which I think most of my monsters for this game are going to have rusted weapons, dirty rusted weapons, so probably except the Chaos Warriors and the Gargoyle and that, because the Gargoyle I'm going to paint as a stone model, because that's what he's supposed to be. Stone Gargoyle. So that's that done. So we're going to go back and work on the femurs now. I'm going to go back and work on the femurs now. I keep saying we for some reason, I don't know why. But anyway. So those skeletons are more or less finished. I'm going to do a little bit of an edge highlight on the metal once the ink's dry. And I've got to do the bases, but that's about it. So we're going to go back to working on these. I'm going to go back to working on these. Stop with the we. Get rid of some of these paints because I don't actually need them. And yeah, so this one, there's basically these two guys. This one is slightly more done than the others. Like I said, the mould lines on them make stand out a hell of a lot on the femurs. But what can you do? And like I said, as much as you can try and scrape them off, some of those mould lines are in places you can't reach. So I haven't really bothered. So we've got a bit of this is War Boss green, and the paint scheme for these guys was Warflesh and Athonian Camel Shade over the top, I think. No, Beltane green. It's basically these three and the orcs. I wanted to have a different green to them than the goblins. The goblins are like a lighter green. And these are a bit darker. So we're gonna just grab our brush and start putting the first layer on the flesh of the model. So we'll start going with the tail. So yeah, so I was saying about changing when I do these videos. I mean, I know I don't get particularly a lot of views on these, but it's not my reason for doing it, so it's fine. And I just figured that if I did something on a Saturday or a Sunday, sorry. Firstly, like most people are off on Sundays. Hopefully when I start working I'll be off on Sundays, and it can be something that like a group of us can start doing, because we're going to be starting a BattleUX YouTube channel, which is probably something I'm going to make a start on the next week or two in my spare time when I'm not painting. And it's going to be, the club are going to be able to submit videos to upload. And it'll probably be run by me. So I'll be watching everything and trying to do a bit of editing. But I probably won't be doing editing, it should be done by the person submitting the video. But I'm not saying I've perfected any of this when I've been doing it on YouTube. I'm just recording them and uploading. I'm not really editing much. But I just thought it'd be something. I mean, other clubs do this already. I mean, BattleUX has been going for 5 years, or over 5 years now, and except for one of our members who used to be at the club. She doesn't come down anymore. She had her own YouTube channel, but she was reviewing board games and stuff, which was cool. It was kind of linked to BattleUX, but not really. Although my one's not really linked to BattleUX, it's just the fact that I'm one of the guys that helps run the club. But yeah, so like we're trying to do it so that we're going to do like club submitted things, so members submitted stuff. So if you've recorded a battle report and you want to put it up, you can do that. Obviously we'll have a look through it first. And we're going to do like hangouts as well. This is the idea I had anyway, is to do hangouts. Get a group of painters together, people who want to sit and paint and model or build, or just chat rubbish about the hobby. Be organised like a week beforehand, and obviously you need a laptop or a desktop computer and a webcam and all that, because it will be done on camera. So it will be, like I said, you don't have to have your face on camera. It doesn't have to be your mug. Like with me, it's not. It's me painting. Most of the time, when I actually remember to be on camera, paint on camera. So it could simply be that you're just talking while you're painting. It could be that. Or if you want to actually be on camera, you can be on camera. Just got to remember that it's going to go out on YouTube afterwards, so don't want to be sitting there in your Y-fronts, particularly, because no one want to see that. So yeah, it's an idea. It's something that, like I said, people are reluctant to paint sometimes, and I'm all about getting the motivation to paint models and get your armies done and stuff like that. So yeah, if it helps people get their armies painted, to be able to sit around and talk to people while you're painting, then it's all fine. I mean, it's not always going to be me either. It can be other elders that are running it, or it might just be members. What's it called? Members, club members doing it. So yeah, I think that'll be a good idea. I mean, like I said, sitting and painting in Games Workshop's good as well. Obviously you can't record in there, but we want to get BattleUX a bit better known, because we're having people come to the club who are like, oh yeah, I've lived around here for ages, I never knew there was a gaming club here. So yeah, we want to get ourselves out there a bit more, and we get more people in. Like, if we get more people in on a Monday, we can talk to the Conservative Club about expanding to upstairs and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it'll be a good idea. I don't know whether we can record in there though. It shouldn't be a problem, because I've already got one of the guys at the club asking me when can I be in the next battle report that I film, and I actually haven't uploaded the last one I did. There is reasons. The camera works a bit shoddy. I think I'm going to stick with the static camera that I did in my first battle report. I think yeah, you play smaller games so you can have it on the table, but it works. It's fine. And at the Conservative Club, we can make that specific game upstairs so it's good sound quality. I will see. We'll see in the next few weeks how things go. But if I do that, that'll be one of the things that will go on the BattleUX YouTube, and it won't be on mine anymore. Purely because I want to keep mine as this, my hobby stuff. And I think it would be better on the BattleUX page for the battle reports and stuff. So yeah. In fact, I may actually, if I set up the BattleUX YouTube channel, the game that I played, it's a few months ago now, which I've been holding off editing and stuff because I've been painting and stuff like that. It might be the first thing on there. We'll see. In fact, the old one that I put up may be the first one on there, because that's edited and ready to go. So yeah, I think that might be an idea. That might be quite a good idea. And I can, yeah, I will credit people when they're in my videos on there, because if they're agreeing to be in my videos, then they can have their names in it as well. I know on my what's it called, my battle reports that the battle report I've filmed before, I didn't really do faces. I tried to keep it focused on the game rather than anything else, but I think the guy that I'll be playing for the next one, I think he wants his face on YouTube, so we'll see. But yeah, I've noticed myself. I'm more reluctant to do these videos now. I'm just, I don't know if people are getting anything out of them, of these sitting rambles. So I have been thinking about stopping them, but it helps me with my painting week, so it's kind of, I don't want to stop them. So yeah, but I've been trying to think of a way that I could use my wargaming as a way of trying to make money, trying to make it my job. Obviously video thing I can't do as a job. I don't have the skills for it, and I've tried applying to work for Games Workshop, and that's not happened. I know there's other wargaming companies around, but generally speaking they're based in Nottingham. They haven't got shops and stuff locally, so that would be harder to do. The ideal thing would be to work for Games Workshop, don't get me wrong. And I've tried, I've applied for jobs in Games Workshop, but it's just never happened, so yeah. So we're coming up to about our hour of me rambling on like an idiot, like I do. And like I always say, I'm going to keep painting because I want to keep painting. Making use of the time that the free time that I've actually got, and this video will take a few hours to upload, like it always does, or more than a few hours. Sometimes it takes up to 4 or 5. It's what it is. It's YouTube for you. But I can just leave that running while I'm painting, so it's not a problem. And it's generally what I do anyway. I just carry on painting. But obviously I can have my fan on because I'm not recording, and it is hot. It's very stuffy at the moment, and I can have a bit of music on as well. And if I am off for the rest of the week, if I've got the rest of the week off, I'm going to edit that video and put it up because it's about time. The guy helped me out, and it is about time it got put up. So even if the camera works a bit dodgy, like I said, I tried to do it like Mini Wargaming did, where they're holding the camera the whole time, and it doesn't come out very well. I think the static camera is cool. Just get on and play the game, then record the whole video and then edit it later. And to be fair, there's not a lot of editing needed anyway. If you're recording the whole game, you get to see everything, bells and whistles and warts and all. So yeah, I think I'll stick to that, and I'm actually tempted to do a Blood Bowl game as a battle report, because that would work very well, because it's a board game anyway. You can just set the camera up so it's watching the board. Just got to make sure all the dice rolls are on the board so you can see what's being rolled. You do need an opponent who's quite vocal as well. I've always been vocal in my games of 40k. I generally I say what I need to roll, and I tell my opponent when he's at -1 to hit or -1 to wound or anything like that. Like my Harlequins get a lot of bonuses like that. It's good having an opponent that's doing the same thing, because if you got someone who's just gonna roll dice and you don't know what it's for, it doesn't come across very well on camera. So yeah, I'll see. Like I said, I've got one guy who wants to be on. He wants to be famous, so we'll see. And you never know, I may even, once I've taught my nephew how to play a little bit, he might even be able to be on camera as well. I know he loves YouTube, and he's only just starting off in the hobby, but he does have his YouTube. He's got his people that he follows, and he's very much he knows them by name and that kind of thing, and yeah. I don't think he's watched any of my stuff yet. It was good reason, because I've been caught swearing in my videos, so I try more and more to not do it, but it is what it is. I'm an adult, and yeah, they slip out from time to time. I do mean swear words and not anything else. There's one thing we're talking to some of the guys at the club yesterday, and literally every word I said they were twisting it into something else. I was getting a little bit frustrated, but anyway, it's fine. So yeah, I think I'm just going to carry on with this guy. Once I've got this guy finished, I'll call the video done. I can start getting it uploaded. So I've just got a few more bits of flesh to paint this in. And this Warboss green isn't particularly good. It's a bit thin. So I'll probably have to go over with a second coat, because it's very, very thin. And like I said, with these models, they're cheap. They're not cheap models as such. They're not particularly well made. They're old models, and you do notice there's a mould line across his head, which is quite annoying. He's got like it's a vent, it's called, where they pour the plastic into the mould. He's got one on his back, which again is a bit silly, but they could have put that on the base, but they didn't. They put it on his back. Okay. But literally, I mean, if you look, you see his back. He's got the black lines. They're the straps, and the vent is right between them. So short of cutting half his back off, you're not going to really remove that vent. So like I say, I haven't really tried removing it. I just left it. So I'm hoping the paint job will cover it up, and at the end of the day, it's on his back. And it's for a board game, so it's just, I'm painting these for my satisfaction. So yeah, it's fine. So yeah, so I'm practically finished this guy now. I've got his arm to do and his shoulder, and that's about it. So yeah, I'll see how things go with the YouTube channel and stuff. I'm just trying to encourage people to use media at the club, because it's been noted that we're fairly quiet media wise. I mean, we on Facebook, the actual group itself is quite active. The Off the Painting Table group is really active because everyone's painting, which is great. But outside of Facebook, we don't really have a lot, and we should. I mean, we've got people that know their stuff. We've got teachers, we've got aircraft engineers, we've got all kinds of people that come to the club, and it just seems like everyone's a bit quiet when it comes to social media, except me. I'm everywhere. The only thing I'm not particularly big fan of Twitter. It's more, to me, Twitter is more a case of you use it to follow celebrities and stuff, and the whole celebrity fanboy thing I don't really understand. I'm not a big follower of celebrities, so I don't really use Twitter all that much. But yeah, I mean, we could blog a bit better. Something I might do is, we've got a tournament coming up in August, and I might actually do a video blog from the tournament. I'm not playing in it, but it might be an idea. But yeah, I think that's about our hour, probably a bit more actually, but that's okay. Thank you very much if you've listened this far. I don't think many people do, but it's okay. And like I said, I'm going to carry on painting because it's what I want to do while this video is uploading. So thank you very much for listening to my latest ramble. I'm also going to be able to turn my fan on because I'm sweating my backside off, and you don't really want to know that. But yeah, so thank you very much for listening while I clean my palette, and I will see you again next week, hopefully, maybe, definitely, we don't know, who knows. Thank you very much, see you later, bye bye.